Welcome back, Simian Squad, to another episode here on Mr. Sean Productions. I'm Mr. Sean. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that I like to call the order of loneliness and the chaos of companionship. If you enjoy my content and want to see it continue, please do me the favor of liking, commenting, and subscribing. This is a few clicks and types for you, but it means the world to me, and it shows the algorithm that this channel is worth recommending. Now, real talk, because the idea of this video, this topic, came from my workplace when one of my coworkers said to me, okay, real talk. And it's like, all right, what are we talking about? I figured it was going to be something like, hey, what do you think of this person we work with? Or like, do you think so-and-so is like a good person or not? No. Straight out of the bat, her question to me was, how often do you think a married couple should have sex? In an ideal situation, how often would a married couple do the bedroom dirty? And I'm going to tell you my answer. Now, please note that this is in my mind, the ideal amount. This is in no way to say this is how often I engage in that activity, unfortunately. But I said, I don't know, maybe 2 times a week, which apparently she thought was a lot. But she was telling me her husband, who is also named Sean, oddly enough, would, if he had his way, she and him would do it every night. And I was like, well, he's a Sean, so, that's just how we are. Energy and body permitting, I'd be that way too, though again, I can't honestly, get and look at anybody or talk to you on the internet and say that would be the reasonable ideal for a couple. No, it can't be every night. No, there's just not whether it's the spirit or the body, one of them will not be willing that frequently. But going off that initial question, I got to thinking, and I was like, there really isn't. No matter what somebody says to this answer, the concept that whatever your ideal amount of married couple intercourse is, that's not probably gonna happen, because when you entwine your life with another person, when your decisions are no longer based solely on your desires and time, chaos ensues. And if you add, say, children to that mix, if you have kids, it gets even more chaotic, because there is zero order and zero ability to anticipate what comes next when you start to entwine your life in the lives of others. And this goes even further beyond, say, a romantic relationship. If you've ever played D&D as an adult, you know how hard it is to get a group of adults who all have at least some level of control over their schedule into a room to play a couple hours of a make-believe game on a semi-regular basis. I run D&D once a month. I know some people try to do it like once a week, and I don't know how they do that, because once a month is hard enough to schedule. And a lot of people don't like chaos. They don't like things like that. They don't like knowing, not knowing what's going to come next. They don't like feeling like they're not in control because of the chaotic nature of life. And you can have control, but it comes at a cost. To have control, you must also have loneliness. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you can control ultimately is yourself. And in order to even have full control over that, you need to not be beholden to anyone or anything. I mean, we might say, you still have to have a job, but again, you would know your schedule. You'd find a job where the schedule works for you, your schedule, and then you can make your own decisions based on that. And I would know. I was single for a long time, guys, and when I was single, on my days off of work, I could do whatever I wanted. Technically, even on my days at work, at least when I got off work, the rest of the day was mine to do with as I pleased. The only thing that limited me was my desire to go back to the job so I could make money, and of course the funds that I had on hand at the time. But again, I still had control over what I did with that time and those funds. If I wanted to get up in the morning and get in my car and drive to the other side of the state to check out some obscure nerd store, nothing was stopping me. I would go, I'd do it, and it was fun, a lot of the time, but there was a hollowness to it. Yes, I was completely in control. I could do whatever I wanted. I could go wherever I wanted. But at the end of the day, all of these things I was experiencing alone. I remember one time, not terribly long before I started, dating my girlfriend, now wife, where I found myself one afternoon, actually on her recommendation. We were not a couple yet. We were just friends, but she had recommended that I try Gold Star chili. Now, I had always done Skyline, which, I still say they taste the same, but a lot of people would want to skin me alive for that. They're two different kinds, a Cincinnati-style chili, and they're the big competitors of each other. But I found myself at the Dayton Mall in Dayton, Ohio, sitting in their food court, eating by myself some Gold Star chili coney dogs, and I was sitting on the edge. The food court of the Dayton Mall is upstairs, and I was looking over the railing at some people that were in a competition for charity. I believe it was something to feed the homeless, and they were building statues by stacking Campbell's soup cans. And it's like, wow, what an exciting life I lead. And but then it kind of hit me. It's actually when these trips started to feel more hollow, as it was like, yeah, I'm going to tell people about this, but at the end of the day, it's kind of a you had to be there story. So I'm really sharing it with nobody. But that's not to say loneliness is hollow for everyone. Some people like being alone. Some people do. I'm not one of them. But that's the thing. When I was alone, when I was single, I could do whatever I wanted. I could go wherever I wanted. I could experience whatever I wanted. But what I really wanted was companionship. And companionship is chaotic as fuck. My wife and I yesterday, we were getting ready for D&D, and I got distracted here in the workshop while we were cleaning, and she got mad at me. Why? Because I'm not by myself anymore. I told her I'd help her clean, and I got distracted in here. That's the chaos, is that I cannot just stop whatever I'm doing to do whatever I want, because there's another person that's counting on me in some way, that is relying on me, whether that's my time, my resources. I hate saying my resources. But we have a life together. We build each other up. We support each other, and I was not being supportive in that moment because my mind, for a brief moment, went back to the lonely guy that if he wanted to, he could, hole himself up in the workshop all weekend and just do whatever he wanted. But ultimately, that is not the guy that I enjoy being, because it was orderly but lonely. And you might be thinking, I don't know, I'm not your dad, but you might be going, well, Mr. Sean, my wife and I, my girlfriend and I, my fiance and I, my friends with benefits and I, whatever, my live-in bang maid and I, we do our separate things, and we don't always have to be around each other. And yeah, that's fine. You can do that. But I bet when you go do your separate things, you have already arranged to do that, and you've had to find a time where both of you can just go do your thing, and that it's not going to interfere with anything you need to do together. It's not going to screw over the other person, that you can't just, like, in the middle of them needing you for something or you needing them for something, one of you can't just F right off and go on a boys, girls, solo weekend. No, because you have to coordinate. You have to bring some semblance of order in the chaos to make things work. But because that's the thing, because you are doing things, you are relying, and others are relying on you, you no longer have complete control over your own time. And I think that's why a lot of relationships fail. The other one, of course, being money. But I think relationships fail because people fail to realize that once you are in a relationship, your time is not completely your own anymore. And that's not even just to say romance. When you have a group of friends and you make plans with the friends, and it's like, hey, we're all meeting here at this time, and you say, okay, I'm going to show up. And let's say then you decide, nah, I'd rather go to Dayton, Ohio and watch people stack soup cans. And so you're like, hey guys, sorry I didn't show up, let's say you didn't even tell them because your time is your own and you'd rather go watch people stack soup cans in Dayton, Ohio. And it's like, hey guys, sorry, the urge to see the stack got calling. And yeah, they're going to be pissed at you. Why? Because they all arranged their time in a manner that worked for everybody, including you. Maybe that wasn't the ideal time for some of them, but it was the time you were available, and they made it work. And, so they took the chaos that is multiple people's schedules, and they found a way to make it work. Not necessarily bringing order to the chaos, but working within the chaos, and then you just fucked right off to somewhere else because you couldn't be bothered, because your time is your own. But that's the thing. When you engage in the social contract, the romantic contract, the relationship contract, whatever it is, when you engage in the commitment of your time, effort, whatever, with other people, be that a lover, a partner, a friend, even coworkers to a certain extent. I mean, again, that is even in the loneliness part, you can be beholden to people that you work with. Yeah, let's go to that for a second before I finish my point. Let's say you're on a team that's working on a project and there's a big deadline coming up, and you just wake up one morning and decide, I don't want to go into work today. I want to go to Dayton, Ohio and watch people stack cans of soup to feed the homeless. I guarantee your team's going to be pissed at you if you call off and, just to go watch people stack cans of soup. But I mean, have you ever noticed that the most organized people, that they tend to be alone? I mean, the one friend whose apartment looks like it belongs in maybe, a magazine, but, haven't been on a date in 3 years. You might have a coworker with a color-coded calendar, but they're always eating lunch by themselves. Meanwhile, you got someone like me whose desk is a mess, but I'm always walking around talking to people. I make a new friend every day. It's like chaos. If you want to be around people, if you want to be amongst people, it's chaos. And, you got to learn how to thrive in it if that's what you want. But if you want order, that's fine. Ultimately, even in the chaos, you're never going to stop trying to find some semblance of order. Like, you ever had that feeling when you've finally gotten your life completely together, like your room is clean, your schedule's perfect, everything exactly how it should be, and then 5 minutes later, it's all wrecked again? That's me and my workshop. The workshop is a mess. It's a mess right now. And I'm always like, man, I need to clean the workshop. And the thing is that then I will clean it. I'll spend a weekend, maybe 2, maybe a whole week getting everything organized and clean. And then we have to shove something into it again because ultimately we don't have enough space in our townhome. That's why we're looking to buy a home in the near future, get some more space, some more storage. And then the workshop is a mess again. It's like, wow, all of that effort I just put in trying to maintain order is now gone. And that's because ultimately I don't have full veto power to go, no, I just cleaned the workshop. We're not shoving stuff in because our friends are coming over, your sister's coming over, whatever. It's just, oh, yep, we got to get this out of the way. Guess it's going into the workshop. And again, that's because true order, complete control over your environment and time, only exists in isolation. The moment you let other people into your life, whether it's friends, family, or that cute girl from the coffee shop, you're basically inviting chaos to be in. You're basically invasively inviting chaos through the front door. But here's where it gets interesting, hopefully it's been interesting already. But that chaos, that is where life happens. Think about it. When you're 80 years old, are you going to remember that perfectly organized sock drawer? That trip you made by yourself where you bought something? Maybe let's go with a He-Man action figure. No, nothing wrong with collecting He-Man, but yeah, are you going to remember that trip you made by yourself where you went somewhere, you bought something, you went home? Or are you going to remember that time your best friend, your breast friend? Yeah, let's go with your breast friend, not best friend. I misspoke, but I spoke correctly. Where your breast friend called you up at midnight because they needed help moving a couch. And somehow you ended up getting pizza at 3 a.m. with 5 strangers. I don't know. Is that a thing that happens? That's actually never happened to me, but it popped into my head that might be a thing, you know. Are you going to remember that story? What is it we remember about our lives? Now, also not just what do we remember, what are the good memories? I mean, I keep referencing this time where I sat and I watched people stack soup. And, you know, it's a vivid memory, so I do remember it, but I wouldn't even necessarily call it a good memory. Like, it wasn't in that moment, I looked at what was going on in my life and was like, wow, I'm kind of lonely, aren't I? Like, yeah, cool. I can get up on my day off and just drive out to another part of the state and do whatever I want. But what I really want is someone to do it with. And here's the kicker. It's like, well, maybe think, well, maybe it was just the environment. You know, maybe that was kind of a sad place, so you felt sad. And the thing is, I've been back to that place. Actually, my wife and I, anytime we're in Dayton, we like to go to that mall, and we like to go to that Gold Star because there's an old guy that works there, and he's absolutely great. She gets a 3-way chili, the chili cheese and spaghetti. If you're not familiar with how we Ohioans eat our chili, I get some coney dogs. We typically get a thing of garlic fries to share, and we have a great time. And it is so much. Every single one of those trips has been better than me sitting by myself eating that, watching people stack cans of soup. So yeah, I might not have sex 2 times a week, but I have someone who helps me live a more fulfilling life. I have friends who I know that if push comes to shove, I can count on to be there for me. Even if what I need them to be is just someone to hang out with and play Dungeons and Dragons with on occasion. My life is better because other people are in it, and that comes at the cost of order and control. And that's okay, because you don't need to be in control of everything. What you really need is to be happy. And the people who actually succeed in controlling every little aspect about their lives, I've never met one who's happy. Thanks for watching today, guys. I'm Mr. Sean. This is Mr. Sean Productions, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.